So I've been doing a lot of journaling in the past week, and I feel like it is almost life-changing for me because in the past what I've done is I said to myself, oh, I can't journal because I'm just looking for the perfect journal. I need to make it perfect. I need to make it look as very aesthetic, and I have to do it place it in a certain way, or I have to write it in a certain way, or I have to draw pictures in a certain way, or whatever it is that I come up with that, oh, it has to be perfect or else I can't write in this journal. But this time I've done something really different, and I decided to buy 2 journals that are just for writing. So I don't do anything else. I don't put any stickers. I don't put any stamps or whatever it is. This is just a writing journal, and what I love is that it's really changing my life. Honestly, one of the things that I've always wanted to do was to write down or like to reflect more on things and just funny events that I just wanted to remember. And yesterday I wrote in this journal, like, look at this. I just wrote in these little random things that I would have forgotten, and it's just so funny to now look back on. Even if it's only a day, I'm looking back on this and I'm like, whoa, I remember that. Oh, I even drew a funny picture. I am not at all a good drawer when it comes to drawing on a piece of paper. I can draw on the iPad and I can make it look really nice, but on the piece of paper, my first drawing draft is always really trash. So the fact that I'm okay with that is a huge step. And what I do is I just tell myself, okay, I know I want things to be aesthetically pleasing, and maybe one day I will make like the most aesthetic looking journal that ever lived. But right now, these 2 journals are just for writing, and I'm not gonna do anything else but write. And even if the writing looks bad, even if I stuff up writing, if I make mistakes, all I do is I try to make a joke out of it. So I've done this with the bullet journal as well, which really works very well. So whenever I make mistakes, instead of like crossing it out and making it look really horrible on the page, it makes me want to tear off the page and throw the page away. What I do is I just put like a little remark on it and I try to cross it out and write the proper word or whatever. Basically just almost like mocking myself about the mistake that I made. I find that to be more visually aesthetically pleasing compared to just scrubbing it all out or white out or whatever it is. So that's one of the things I've been doing. One of the things I've learned to do is to write basically everything in this journal. I just write everything that comes to mind in this journal. It comes with me wherever I go. The other journal is more of a let's write it at night. Let's write all our goals, all our bucket list and everything that I've been really working hard on. Yesterday I did a whole page on my bucket list that I want to really achieve. So I find that one of the reasons why I always feel really depressed sometimes when I'm just living the same routine every day is that I crave for something new. I always notice that whenever I just live the exact same routine, there's a part of me that can feel really down and depressed and sad. It's like, what's the point of life if we're just doing the same thing every day, right? I just have these thoughts every now and then that is not strong enough to cause any major alarm, but it is there. And I find one of the reasons why is because I feel in my heart, at the moment at least, it's impossible to do anything because like family situations sometimes can just be really tough to take vacations, and that's one of the situations I'm in now. So instead of just saying, oh, I'm moping around and go, oh, I can never do anything, I find that it helps me a lot to journal down all the things that I want to do, and also what it takes to get there, and also what I would need to do to achieve it. So like maybe the money I need to save up or whatever it is, I will write that down and I will put it in the journal to make it more of a close reach goal rather than something that's unattainable and that's far away. Because I know we've all been there where, you know, it's like we want to go somewhere, we want to see something, we may want to meet someone, and those dreams just feel like out of our reach because it seems so complicated from like when we think about it, it's like, oh, we're never going to be able to do that. But to be able to do that is really just one step away. It's just that you have to actually do it. You have to save up for it. You have to take the first step to work towards it. You can never do that if you're just going to be like, oh, one day I'll do it. So I find it really helpful to write down my goals, because then I can look at it and go, oh, okay, so this is the place I want to go. Maybe I'll go for this first. Maybe I'll do this. And it's just really important because our fears have this really strong ability to just tell us, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and it makes everything seem impossible. I just don't like that our fear does that to us, but at the same time it's like, oh, I can't help it. So having this daily journal that I write with wherever I go, I will take this journal with me on the train, I'll take it, I'll write it, I'll write anywhere, I'll write in it anywhere. And I love that, because sometimes you might have a thought that just pops up, and instead of letting it just fly away, which is what 99% of chance happens, and then you probably won't ever remember the thought again, it will just be out of your head. Writing it down means that later you can look back and go, oh wow, that's interesting, I forgot that happened. Because I'm looking through this and I'm like, oh, I almost forgot about the fact that my cat arched his back yesterday and he looked like he was a kitten. He was like, you know, that crab walk that kittens do, but adult cats don't do as much because they kind of lose their like really, really exciting play mode. But yesterday, my big cat, the biggest one, it was doing that, and it was so funny, and during that moment it was just so hilarious. And I, instead of just letting that memory go, I wrote it down, and now I get to remember it. Oh, it's so great, right? And also I bought extra shoelaces yesterday for Lucas, and there was 2 spare, and I thought, oh, I'll just put it somewhere. And you know what happens when that happens is that I put it somewhere, I forget that it exists, and next time we need it, I end up buying new ones. But instead of just doing that, I wrote in my journal, I said, shoelace is in pink frog, because I put it in that pink frog plush that's behind me. That's where I put it. And now I'm gonna remember it, hopefully. If I really don't remember, that means there's something wrong. But I really love that I actually wrote that down, because now I get to remember that. And it's something I know I would have forgotten. So there are so many little things in life that are just so fleeting that you would forget about, and your mind is not like that good at keeping all the small details of information. I find you'll remember big things, but if you come at the end of the day, you'll usually think like, oh, what did I do today? What was so interesting? Like even yesterday, if you think about yesterday, if you just think about what you did yesterday, what you might find is that, oh, I don't remember what I did. Oh my God, where did I go? It's like all these things are just like almost, oh, I kind of remember. But if you write it down, you're going to have the detailed memory, and that's going to be so amazing. One of the reasons why I love filming is for the same reason, is that, oh, sometimes I'll forget funny things that happen, and when I film it, it's like, wow, I remember. But even filming, sometimes you miss things, but writing, you can actually write every single little detail. So I love doing that. And there's just random things. My diary has absolutely, journal I should say, have no structure at all in this. This journal is basically whatever comes in my mind. Everything is different, and all thoughts go in there. There is no, oh, this page is for that, this page is for that. That's for the other journals, and that's fine. You can have multiple journals. I just think it's very important to have a journal where you're writing in and you're not worrying about how it looks aesthetically, because a lot of times too much effort or too much time could be wasted into trying to make the journal look so good to the point where you don't even know what you're writing, or you have writing around the way the journal looks, or you feel like you can't write because you won't write nice enough or neat enough or whatever it is. I've been through all of that, believe me. I've been through the most difficult time trying to start a journal because I want it to look aesthetically pleasing, like the journals I see on Pinterest, right? They're so perfect, and I'm just like, I'll never get there. Why even bother? But now I'm like, no, these journals are writing only. No decorating for these 2 journals. I'll probably make another one where I write 2, and then I might make one extra one that I decorate. So that one I can just, you know, pull out of these journals to the best parts and then just put it in that one so I can look at it and it looks nice. Because we all love something that looks really nice. I absolutely don't think that's a bad thing in any way, but it's also important to not let that fear of imperfection stop us from writing everyday life things. So that's why I think it's important to have like a journal. And sometimes if you find that a journal looks too nice for you to write on, and then you might make a mistake and you want to throw it out, what I find very useful is if you buy 2 of it. I know it seems silly, but that's what worked. So I bought 2 of this journal because I really just loved the way it looked, and I didn't want to have a journal that was ruined by writing. I know it sounds horrible when I say that, but I do have this problem where I feel like if I write in it, then the journal is ruined because my writing isn't good enough. But you have to think about it. You can't really get better writing unless you practice, right? So that's how you get better with everything is practice. You have to do it. You have to practice. You're not gonna have better handwriting by wishing you had better handwriting. Just like with any skill, you have to practice. That's why I got to the same journal, and because of that, I decided to write it. And look how much I've written. This is just the most amazing amount of work I've ever done on a journal, and I'm really proud of it because I didn't think I would ever be able to write in a journal because I was always afraid I would do it poorly, do it badly, do it like not as nice as others. And then it's really interesting because what I did was I watched a few journal videos, and they were all journal people who wrote in a journal just to write, not to make it aesthetically pleasing. It kind of made me realize, oh, that can be done too. I don't just have to make a journal to make it aesthetically pleasing. I can just write in a journal. Like, I can just make it messy. I can just make it whatever I want, and that's the goal. That is the goal. Even if the journal looks really aesthetically pleasing, you don't have to make it that way. You can still write whatever you want. The important thing is that you can look back and remember it. Do you remember when you were a kid, maybe you've written a journal and you done Dear Diary stuff, this is a secret, I had some of them. And one of my favorite things in the world is to go back and read some of the early journals I'd made when I was like 14. And it's like the most exciting feeling. And you know what? I'm looking at the journal. I'm not looking at how bad the handwriting is. In fact, I'm like, oh wow, cool. This is what our handwriting looked like when I was 14. I'm not thinking about how bad the journal looks. I am so glad I have that memory because I would have forgotten about that. That is the most important thing. And the fact that I had that journal was one of the greatest things I could have kept. And if only I'd spent the last 10 years just journaling and writing down all these little fun things so that I can go back and read it and go, wow, I would have forgotten about that. That is what's so important. So please don't let the fear of imperfection of journaling stop you. Just get a journal, just whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a nice one, like cute one like this. It just be whatever you find. Just write all your thoughts down, all your thoughts. It is life-changing. It will make you think of things that you normally don't think of. It will bring you closer to your goals. It will bring you closer to your dreams and your bucket list items and things that you really want to achieve, because one of my favorite things right now is looking at the list of places I want to go. I feel like that's one of my favorite things to do, and my goals in life is to visit certain places, because there are certain places that nothing can replace. You have to experience it for yourself to get that exciting feeling, and maybe to make a video. That's like my dream. So right now I've written down all the places I want to visit, and also eventually I will work out the cost and everything and how much it would be and how much I would have to save and how long it will take. There are all things that are fun to exciting to look forward to if you actually have a real time frame in mind, not just like blindly like, oh, one day maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. It's like a lot of times when we don't think about our goals, they just seem so out of reach because our mind likes to trick us into doing that. If we have written down, if we have the exact steps to take, it's going to be so much easier to achieve it. Believe me, it really is like that. And it's also important to also write down or remember the things that you've done that you're really proud of, like that you've achieved. Because I personally have done a lot of things on my bucket list. I didn't even realize how much I did until I looked over yesterday. I wrote down all the bucket list things that I've already achieved, and the page was one whole page. And that was so huge. I did not even think I was capable of getting that much done already. But when you think about it, you have to think, oh, like I want to write something down. It's like you got to think about all the things, and these things just come up, and you would have probably, I'm sorry, there's a hair in my freaking eye and it's really annoying me. That will just slip out of your mind. So writing it down is so good. It is so good. And also the more you write, the better your handwriting hopefully becomes, and more strong your fingers are, and the better you are with writing. So you might find in the beginning you write a page, you're like, oh, so sore if you're not used to it. But I find that now I'm not as sore as I was 3 days ago. So yeah, I just am so happy that I got this journal to write. Sometimes you just really will forget about these little thoughts. I feel like thoughts are such things that will just dissipate so easily. We lose our thoughts so easily. Like even maybe something we thought about 5 minutes ago is probably completely gone by now if you don't write it down. So instead of letting the good thoughts or the fun thoughts or the really interesting thoughts or even evil thoughts, I have evil thoughts sometimes that I feel like, okay, I should write down. Like, well, I feel like it's very interesting because we all have these thoughts. And it feels like sometimes they're not even in our control. The thoughts just happen. And it's so important to have it written down somewhere, so that you can look at it and go, oh wow, so this is what I was thinking. You can analyze your own mind and things, and it's so interesting. And it just makes such a good memory to look back on. So if you are the type of person on the edge about whether you should journal or not, just do the journal technique where you are just writing down every thought that happens in your head into whatever format. I feel like that is the most freeing type of journaling, that you're not sticking to this one route or one specific way. You're just writing down whatever comes to your mind. You write down all the things that's happened, all the things you want, or all the things that you want to remember, or whatever it is. I just find that it's really, really important. So this journal is, let me show you another page. They're just random thoughts that I have during the day that I wrote down. These are completely irrelevant to one another, the thoughts. Sometimes it could just be like, oh wow, news I heard that was exciting to me, or what I want to buy, or what I cooked, or what I need to improve on my cooking, anything like that. Is just, you can write in it. So anyway, hopefully this will make you really want to journal more. Yeah, go journal. It really is life-changing. And also document your experience is also really important, because I find that it's so interesting to hear about other people's experiences with journaling. So yeah, hope you do that.